Hazard Pay is back on, baby. Hazard Pay is in the third stimulus package. It pays $1,500 if you worked in the pandemic, are 19 years and older, and made less than $25,000. But what is an essential worker and how does it work? In this throwback video, I explain Hazard Pay, who's an essential worker, and more on Overnight's LALATE. You're entitled to hazard pay, but how hazardous has it become listening to Nancy Pelosi? Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is LALATE. Hope you're good and safe. This is Hazard Pay, our second video on Afternoons LALATE that starts every day. Our 2-hour programming block starts every day with the check that goes to Hazard Pay, FPUC, and rent assistance, which will move to evenings LALATE tonight because of my voice dissipating. Hope you're good and safe. Big exciting news and shocking news about Hazard Pay overnight, and an additional twist and turn as the Social Security benefits, which I'll be getting to shortly, minutes ago. Boy, this is really a jaw dropper. Let me get to a key factor about hazard pay, which no one has been talking about, and it's a little bit perplexing, but I'm going to address it right now. Hazard pay, good news, is that hazard pay is not gone anywhere. It is still in the HEROES Act. The HEROES Act is still front and center. If you're sort of confused about what do we have, what are the bills, and where are we at, the great news is that HEROES Act has the HEROES Fund, and hazard pay is still in there. It still remains, as we sit here, late August, the only bill and mega bill that has been passed by a House of Congress. If you don't recall, the HEALS Act, introduced by Mitch McConnell to the Senate, never was passed by the Senate, so it's going nowhere. There was never a skinny bill from the Republicans. It was introduced by email, not introduced to the Senate floor by Mitch McConnell on Monday. That's why I didn't cover it. Some people are covering it as though it's a bill. It's not a bill. It's a draft, just like my piece of paper. And you can draft one too. Let's just all draft stuff and say it's a bill. It's not a bill until it's introduced to the floor. Mitt Romney's bill about hazard pay is a bill. He introduced it in May. It was introduced. It was never put to a vote. So it's not gaining any traction. It hasn't gone anywhere. It was introduced to the Senate. So as you sit here today, you have no bill detailing hazard pay beyond the HEROES Act, which is really good news. You do have what I interpret, and I sort of argue, it's up to you whether you view it this way or not, I view it as a counter hazard pay bill, and that is the liability provision of the HEALS Act. The HEALS Act has a provision in there that you cannot sue your employer for unsafe work environment unless they intentionally cause that workplace to be unsafe, and we're talking about COVID-19 safety standards. Now, that is clearly, in my opinion, contrary hazard pay language. What's really good news about this is that no one has ever approved that bill. Repeat, the HEALS Act has never been approved by the Senate. No one ever they put it up for a vote. No one approved it, but it's never been approved by the Senate, so it hasn't gone anywhere. But it is a contrary bill to hazard pay, because under hazard pay there are 3 sections: money for you for the past, money for you going forward, and then workplace security, that your workplace is safe for purposes of COVID-19, which is sort of an important thing and should have been done and done by emergency bill, months ago. I don't know why it's still not a law as we sit here in August. Certainly one of the most important things as we sit here. So for Mitch to have a bill that says you can't sue the employer for hazardous environment, it's clearly contrary language. How often have the Republicans supported this contrary language? Now, this is not good news. Mark Meadows was asked yesterday by CBS Morning, what would he do if he did a skinny bill himself? He said, what would you do that has to be done right now as an emergency issue? He flipped Mark Meadows. Remember, he had said all week long, the week before, stimulus checks, standalone bill, stimulus checks. Mark Meadows, stimulus checks, standalone bill, go out. Well, yesterday he said he did not mention stimulus checks, but he did mention that he wanted workplace environment liability protection to the employer. Mark, you traitor. You horrible thing, you. He's now saying that he's not going to give hazard pay, but he wants to ensure you can't sue the employer for hazardous work environment. Oh, not good. Not good. Now, he said that on Monday. Guess what else happened on Monday? Well, on Monday, Mitch Onse, that skinny bill, well, I shouldn't call it a bill, that skinny draft of a bill, which he had been threatening for over a week. Where did he debut it? He debuted it at the bus stop. He debuted it in the sewer. He did not debut it on the congressional floor. He did not introduce it to the Senate, so it's not a bill. You cannot refer to it as a bill. It is a draft. It's like, instead of writing a love letter, he wrote a draft of a bill, and it's a very bad draft. And in there is liability protection. You can't sue your employer for a hazardous work environment unless they intentionally cause injury to your body. Mitch. Horrible. Now, he yesterday said that America needs to go forward and be bipartisan. Mitch, how can we be bipartisan when you write this horrible crap? He says that Americans need relief right now. American citizens need relief right now. Relief? You just wrote something to say, well, I can't sue someone if I get injured in the workplace. How is that relief? So, as we sit here today and we wonder about the future of hazard pay, we have a lot of Republicans using very nice, soft-flowing, impressive, reassuring words that what we can call great news, good news, oh, you are in our spirits. And then slowly they just write a bill that's really bad. Or write a draft of a bill that's really bad. And then they tell news reporters something that's really bad. It's just like, it's just like Power Rangers, and you think it's all going good, and then the villain just shows up. It's like, okay, I just thought we were doing really well until we had to go Power Rangers on this all of a sudden again. What could happen with hazard pay? Well, it's starting to become a little bit of people telling you something really good and then the next minute doing something really bad behind your back. Here is something along the lines of that. As if this is not enough. The president, by executive order a few weeks ago, issued a permanent payroll tax cut that would give a temporary break on payroll paying taxes. That would basically cause a time in which you don't have to pay payroll taxes. Guess what that does? It depletes Social Security. It makes Social Security be in limbo. How bad is it? This is from CNBC today, the Old Age and Survivors Insurance, OASI Trust Fund, would permanently run out in 2021. Meanwhile, the Disability Insurance Trust Fund would run out of funding 2 years earlier, mid-2021. At this place, it would have no more money to pay benefits, says Social Security Chief Actuary Stephen Gross. He says that if you do a permanent payroll tax cut, the funds, Social Security, and whether it's disability insurance, DI, or OSAI, they could be gone next year. Now, the executive order signed by the President on August 8th said that people who make less than $100,000 have a temporary break for paying payroll taxes, but that he would bring it back next year. If I'm victorious on November 3rd, I plan to forgive these taxes and make permanent payroll taxes. Permanent. Well, they're now saying it would absolutely eradicate Social Security by next year. This analysis makes clear that this is a truly thinly veiled attempt to gut Social Security and go after the American people's hard-earned benefits, says Van Hollen, a person interviewed in the report. We cannot allow this to happen. After receiving Gross's letter, Senator Van Hollen issued a statement rejecting the prospect of permanent payroll tax would completely eradicate Social Security by next year. If Donald is reelected, the Social Security would cease to exist before the end of his second term, says Nancy Altman, president of Social Security Works, sent a statement to Gross's letter. Of course, Larry Kudlow came out and says, no, the math is a little bit differently. I'm not kidding. That's literally what Larry Kudlow said. However, White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow disputed the mathematical calculations. I can't with him. I don't know where that idea came from. It's not true. Just, I shouldn't be laughing about this, but it's just, I'm dealing with a buffoon by the name of Larry Kudlow. And then there's another twist as we go back to hazard pay and essential workers. Guess what happens September 30th if you're a hazard pay, if you're an essential worker? One guess. A potential government shutdown. Imagine if there's a government shutdown on September 30th and you're an essential worker. Well, you're not getting hazard pay currently, and you could potentially get no money starting September 30th. What's going on? By September 30th, the members of the House and Senate need to get an approval of a balanced budget. If they don't, the government shuts down. And if that's the case, and you're an essential worker who works for the federal government, the state government, you could be shut down. Now, states having problems balancing their budget, and their shutdowns could occur even earlier than that. Oh, my goodness, it's just, purple is just giving me hit after hit today. I feel like it's whiplash. Even worse. Even worse, dude. Yeah, even worse. Nancy and Steve and Mitch and all those wonderful people in government have only 15 days to balance your budget. They come back into session September 8th and September 15th. So they have 15 days to balance your budget, and if they don't, government shutdown. As an essential worker, you're not getting hazard pay. You're just not getting any pay. Isn't this Congress wonderful? It's just, they just don't get anything done. Not only do they not get anything done, they actually getting things going in reverse now. So you're wondering, okay, where's my $10,000 hazard pay? This video is now ending with telling you you're not going to get your $10,000 hazard pay in the month of August. But in September, you may actually get no pay. You may actually get negative what you were expecting to get from your normal salary because the government may get shut down. At least I'm warning you, because apparently no one else does. As we sit here tonight, or this afternoon, we wonder what really will transpire. Nancy Pelosi's position for purposes of hazard pay is that it's there. It's part of a stimulus package. We don't know what her position is as to negotiating for hazard pay. It's part of a big package. But when asked about that package and what's going on for negotiations, she says, we'll get to it in January. Are we supposed to work in a hazardous work environment all the way to January, Nancy? Yes. Why? That's just because it's strategically not in my best interest to settle it now. Why? Because, children are going hungry. Why? Because states need bailouts. What does that have to do with me, Nancy? Because the state of New York, Andrew Cuomo, and the state of California, Gavin Newsom, are states where Chuck and I live. Oh, okay. The lack of rationality of the situation is just bonkers at this point. And you'd have to sort of wonder, okay, is no one standing up to Nancy? And the people who are standing up to Nancy are you. The power of the purple is really getting strong. What I try to do with this channel is I try to never sugarcoat anything. I try to empower you to know what's going on. And you really have started to assert the power of the purple to congressional leaders, tagging congressmen, tagging news reporters, saying this is enough. I mean, get this woman away, get Mark Meadows away. These are people who just don't want to get things done. You're holding Republicans and you're holding Democrats to be accountable to ensure that a stimulus package is done, that hazard pay is done, and that sitting back and being a coward, being afraid of Nancy Pelosi because you're a Democrat, or being afraid of Donald Trump if you're a Republican, it's not going to work in the middle of a pandemic. It's not going to work when you need this money and you're not getting it. It's not going to work if you're sitting here and you're wondering, September 30th, are we going to get a government shutdown? It's not going to work when we sit back and we wonder, what is President Trump's position on hazard pay? What's Joe Biden's position on hazard pay? What's President Trump's Republican party memo, which is always released before the RNC? What is his party memo on position on every political issue? None. He didn't release one for the first time ever in the history of RNC. What is Joe Biden's position on all these economic policies? We don't know. He's never told us anything about stimulus packages. Anything. Just vague sort of things. I'll address the issue. Joe, give us numbers. Numbers. As we sit here tonight, we understand that we have been played with as the electorate, as the people who elect these people. We have been played with, and it doesn't matter who it is, but they're doing it nonstop. I saw an interview with Mark Meadows today or yesterday where he says there's an urgent concern and that we need to pass extension of unemployment benefits right now, and we need to do it on a bipartisan basis. Okay, it sounds really good, but what's missing from that sentence, what's missing. The number. What number, Mark? $200 a week, which is what Mitch originally proposed. $300 a week, which is what Mitch wrote on Monday. $400 a week, which is what Steve Mnuchin offered 2 weeks ago. $300 a week, which is what the president offered. I mean, why can't you figure out a number so that all of us can talk about things? It's sort of like, I don't know how you describe it. It's like you offer to take someone out on a nice date. Like, I'm going to take you out on a nice date. Oh, I love dates. Let's really go on. I love dates. I agree. We're on a bipartisan agreement. Let's go out on a date. Yeah, let's go on a date. So where are we going out on a date? Well, we're going out on a date. Okay, well, where are you going to take me? We're going to go eat. Oh, I love to eat. Where are we going to go out on a date? We're going to eat. Eat where? Well, we're going to eat. Eat where? Well, we're going to eat because we're doing it on a bipartisan basis. We're going to eat and we're going to have a date. We're going to go. Well, I'm taking you to McDonald's. McDonald's? I'm taking you to Burger King. Burger King? I mean, I love Big Macs. I mean, Big Macs, I don't want to make, Americans going hungry. No, that's Nancy's lie. McDonald's. That's what the Republicans and the Democrats are doing with the American people. Mark Meadows keeps on saying, hey, we need to have unemployment benefits. Okay, at what number, Mark? 55 cents? Nancy says we need to extend unemployment benefits. Okay, at what number, Nancy? Well, $600. Okay, well, they don't want to pay $600. So come up with another new number, Nancy. Well, $600. They don't want $600. Well, I'll just see you in January. This doesn't work, people. And so when you have news reporters that are interviewing Mark Meadows, like CBS Morning News, and they have him and they say, extension of unemployment benefits. Oh, that's really good. Well, I guess we can agree upon some things. Or they have them. It's Jim Cramer and David Faber on CNBC, Squawk Box in the morning, says, is there something you can agree upon? He says, yeah, we can agree upon unemployment benefits. Okay, that's really good. No, it's not good, David. It's not good, Jim Cramer. Ask him the number. You don't do that with stocks. I mean, you don't do that with stocks. It would be really nice if Tesla went up. To what number? Well, it just goes up. To what number? Well, it just goes up. No one talks that way. But when it comes to your subject matter, they're playing games with you. And so that's the power of the purple. When we're talking about hazard pay, what's important to understand is that there is a number, $10,000. $10,000 to land in your bank account for your work, which you did during the pandemic all the way up to the present, $13 an hour. It's not law. It isn't a bill. But there's a calculation to it. And you, myself, Mitt Romney, who drafted the counter bill, which is a very good bill, he and I and you all understand where the calculation is. He's not at $13 an hour. I think he's like $11 an hour. He's not at a $10,000 cap. He's somewhere at like a $5,000 or $6,000 cap. But he understands there's a dollar number because he's a money guy. But then come these people that literally don't want to show you numbers, whether it's Joe Biden or President Trump or Mark Meadows. They don't want to show you numbers. Enough is enough. Do the tweeting, do the sharing of the face of the video. Share this video. Tag your representatives. Tag your broadcast news reporters. And go to the front of the channel and hit that subscribe and alert button. Wow. I mean, my hope was to add about 25,000 new subscribers in 2 weeks. That's what I asked for last Saturday. And you've been just incredibly gracious. We added about 14,000 just 2 days. So let's keep it up. There comes the fighter jet. Because, Nancy said Mark is enemy of the people. It's Nancy flying to San Francisco. Coming up next is FPUC, and then I'd move rent to this evening. As always, stay informed, stay focused, stay smiling, and stay of LA for more.